Good morning, groovy citizens, and happy Winning Wednesday. I know I don't get a chance to say morning often because I'm normally late getting these videos done, but today is going to be a nice and hot day. Right now it is 73 degrees. I think it's going up to 90 something, and I just want to make sure I can get this video done sooner rather than
update failed.
Thank you. Sooner. Oh my God, y'all, wait a minute. Hold up. There is a spider. Jesus, take the wheel, because I don't do spiders. Jesus. Christ. Whew. All right. I'm back together again. Y'all, I'm sorry. I don't do spiders. I cannot stand them. If my daughter had been here, she'd have jumped out of this car, ran across the street, and the spider wasn't no bigger than this. But I still don't like spiders. Now, back to what I was saying. I'm trying to get a jump on this video because today is going to be a hot day. Right now it's 73. It's going to go up to 90 something. I remember the weatherman saying, and so I want to get this done now because I have quite a few things I need to get done today, and I plan on getting all of them done. And what else was I getting ready to tell you? Something I was going to tell you, and I forgot just that quick. But anyway, oh, I know what it was. So I caught myself getting an early start. Guess what? As soon as I got in my truck to get started on the video, the sun is already coming through the window. So I said, well, that's not going to work because in about 2 minutes, it's going to cause the phone to overheat. So I said, you know what? The devil is a lie. I am winning today in all areas of my life. So I pulled out of my driveway because my house is actually over there, came across the street, and I'm sitting in front of my neighbor's house because the sun is not right here. It's nice and shaded. So we're going to get this video done, y'all. Now, let's jump on in. So, let me set the scene. This video came about because I was talking to someone not too long ago, and we were talking, they were sharing some stuff with me, and I said to them, I said, well, it sounds like you need to set some boundaries because it sounds like you don't have any, and you allow people to dictate your time, and you know, you really have no control over your life. And they said, well, actually I do. I said, no, actually you don't, because you jump when people say that they need you to do something. It's all right to tell people no. It's all right to tell them that you can't do something or you don't even want to do it. You've got to set boundaries. Give people limits, because otherwise, if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And so that's how I'm going to be talking about how to set healthy boundaries. So what are healthy boundaries? Well, they are the limits that you place around your time, emotions, body, and mental health to stay resilient, strong, and content with who you are. Everything that I share will be in the description box, but it's so important that your boundaries, you know, that you know what you can place boundaries around and why. So these borders protect you from being used, drained, or manipulated by others. Boundaries are like an invisible fence around the perimeter of a yard. Boundaries establish where your space ends, come on now, and someone else's begins. If you don't set those clear boundaries, people will not realize that your space ends here. And so they're spilling over because they don't know where their limits are. And so I'm going to help you help them to find out where they are. So things that you can set boundaries around. Well, you can set them around your sexuality, morals and ethics, emotional energy, time, personal space, material possessions and finances, as well as social media. Especially, I mean, all of them are definitely you do need to, but when it comes to social media, you've got to set boundaries. And the reason why I say that is because I find that you will encounter some people that think they can say anything out of their mouths because it's on social media. The majority of the friends that I have are family members, my church family, as well as my blood related family. For close friends, some I went to high school with, some I went to middle school, some I went to elementary school. But the thing that I'm trying to get to is that I don't want people on my page using profanity and all that other good stuff. That's cool if you do it on your page. Just don't do it on mine, because I don't want the people that I call friend to see that and then have to question me and my ethics and what have you. So boundaries can be set with family. Come on now. Especially family. Sometimes you do have to set boundaries with them because we love our families, but sometimes they will walk all over top of us if we're not careful. And I've talked about this before. You give people an inch, and they're going to take a whole mile on you. So you can set boundaries with your family, your friends, romantic relationships, co-workers, strangers, neighbors, your business partners, and the list can go on and on, but I'm just trying to give you some examples. So healthy boundaries versus unhealthy boundaries. People with strong boundaries tend to have lower stress levels and higher self-esteem because they prioritize their well-being above all else. So I need you to keep that in mind, because a lot of times I think we are, for lack of a better word, afraid of setting boundaries because we don't want to turn people off. And especially if you have a business, you're afraid of turning people away or not being able to attract people to your business. And you just might not anyway. So why not set boundaries so you can let people know where what they can and cannot do, what is and isn't acceptable. So now on the other hand, people who don't set boundaries may inadvertently let other people take advantage of them. And these people may lack self-confidence, which is self-confidence, a sense of purpose, or a clear identity to guide them through life. Dr. Dana Nelson says, and this is in quotes and it'll be in the description box, in work, our relationships, poor boundaries lead to resentment, anger, and burnout. I think I left out a comma or something there, but what she's saying is in work and as well as our relationships, poor boundaries can lead to resentment, anger, and burnout. And I'm gonna tell you something, as I like to say, one thing's for certain, two things for sure. I know that to definitely be true. So people without boundaries can be easily persuaded into things they want to do into things they don't want to do because they may act out of guilt or obligation rather than self-love. Again, I've been down that road, you guys, but I have since learned that it is okay for me to say, no, I can't do whatever it is that you need. No, I can't attend that. No, I don't want to attend that. There was a time that I did worry about, I don't want to hurt their feelings, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings now, but I also don't want to find myself doing things and going places that I don't really want to be. And inside, I'm resenting you probably and myself for even being here, and I know I don't want to be here. So here are 8 effective ways to set healthy boundaries, and then I'm going to bid you good day. Number 1, visualize and name your limits. You must define your boundaries. Be specific and concrete with them. Being clear on your boundaries will help you get clear on what you will and won't deal with. I'm telling you now, if you don't set clear boundaries, people will think that they can walk all over top of you, and that should never, ever be the case. Number 2, openly communicate your boundaries. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is creating boundaries in their head, come on now, but never sharing them with others. You can't assume that people know what your boundaries are if you didn't communicate them. And that is true. Oftentimes we all have, don't say you have because you have, we all have set boundaries in our minds, but we didn't tell a soul what those boundaries were. And then you wonder why they keep overstepping that line as it relates to your boundaries. Well, because you never told them what your boundaries were. So I need you all, myself included, to make sure that you let folks know what your boundaries are. Again, a lot of times we don't tell anybody because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And, we want to play nice, make nice with everybody. And sometimes you just can't. Now, again, I'm not giving you carte blanche to go out and just be nasty and rude to people, but you have to let them know where you stand, what you will and will not tolerate. Because if you don't, people will take advantage of you. So here's an example, time boundary. So you can say, I can only stay an hour because I have somewhere else to be. Now, if you have to say that to someone, you've got to make sure that you stick to what you said. Because here's another thing that I find with people. We will give a boundary to someone, and then we won't even stick to it. How many times have you said to somebody, "Ooh, you know what? I can't stay on this phone with about 10 minutes, girl, because I got someplace I got to be." And before you know it, you look up, you'd have been talking for a whole daggone hour. Give your boundary, excuse me, y'all. Give your boundary limit and then stick to it. Okay, you've got to stick to it. And I get it. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You know, Clara May, whoever she may be, or Bob Jenkins, they want to pour their heart out to you about whatever's going on in their lives, and you want to be of service. But if you really don't have the time to listen to that whole story, don't let them get started. Emotional dumping, which leads me, is a perfect segue into emotional dumping. You can say, "I know you are having a hard time right now, and I really want to be here for you. However, I don't have the emotional capacity right now to listen to you. Call me later or even tomorrow and we can talk." And then again, stick to what you said. Because there are times that people want to emotionally dump on you, and you don't have the capacity to receive what they're giving you because you've got stuff going on in your own life. So why sit and allow somebody else to dump their stuff onto you if you already have stuff going on in your life? It's all right to do that. And here's the thing. If these people truly know you and they love you for who you are, they are going to accept that. They're going to be okay with that and say, "You know what, Shell, I'm sorry. I didn't think to ask. Is everything good with you? So that's not a problem. We can get together tomorrow, talk. Hey, we can go to Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, or wherever, grab something to drink, go to IHOP, get some breakfast, and just talk." But you've got to, again, it's about setting boundaries. Don't let people, dump all over you emotionally, and you have your own emotional fire that you need to put out, okay? Number 3, reiterate and uphold your boundaries. Not everyone will understand or respect your boundaries the first time that you share them. So this is why you have to stand firm on your decision and or decisions, as you kindly remind them of what you will and won't tolerate. Yes, there are going to be people that do not respect your boundaries. That is sad and unfortunate. And so for those people, you will have to remind them. Now, how you do that is up to you. Let me just say that, because being nice is relative. Okay, it is relative. Being nice for you may not necessarily be nice for me. So if I've set my boundaries and I see that you don't respect them, it's one thing that you may have forgotten. I can understand that. But if I see that you don't respect the boundaries that I've set, and I have to come back and say it a second time, I promise you it won't be nice. And you may or may not even want to talk to me anymore. And it's okay. And I know y'all say, "What? Not Michelle. She's such a nice person." I am a nice person, but I've been that person that I've allowed people to walk all over me. And I'm just not doing that anymore. As the young people say, I'm not here for that anymore. So if I have to tell you a second time, and especially, well, if I have to tell you a second time, I'm going to have to be a little more stern with it. But if I'm saying it, like I said, because you choose not to respect it, then it's almost going to be like I'm saying it for the third or fourth time. I'm going to have to take my voice up a few more octaves, and it won't be very nice, okay? So here's a tip. Try not to shift your boundaries for someone else's comfort. If something isn't okay today, it shouldn't be okay tomorrow. And you and I know that we do that all the time. We will shift that boundary based on the individual. We'll shift that boundary and accept whatever that thing is today, but next week we won't accept it. Then the following month, we're not accepting it again, and then at the end of the year we'll tolerate it. No, you can't do that. Set the boundary and stick to it. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's your mom. Now, if it's your mom and dad, it's something different, because you might have to change some things around for them. But I mean, as a whole, try to stick to that boundary and let it be. Number 4, don't be afraid to say no. Saying no draws a line in the sand, and it expresses courage, self-love, and sovereignty over your daily decisions. Again, I have been that person. I've been afraid to say no to someone because I know that they really needed something done, and or I didn't want to disappoint them. But now, honey, just as sure as I am sitting here wearing these glasses, I will blurt out no in a hot second and not think twice about it. It is what it is. Again, I've set my boundaries. If I know that today is not the day that I want to be taking on somebody else's emotional baggage, I can just say, nope, not today. Let's talk again tomorrow. Or let's get together over the weekend. And then I've got to stick with that no. But I promise you, I'm okay with saying no. If you want me to do something or you want me to go someplace that I'm not interested in going, I'm all right with saying no. You might be disappointed, but hey, you'll get over it. You will get over it because I'm not doing something, or I'm not going to do anything that I don't truly want to do. Like I said, I've been down that road and I'm just not doing it anymore. Number 6, take time for yourself. To some, this may seem selfish, but others get it. You can't give all of your time to everyone else and nothing to and or for yourself. In reality, self-care and healthy boundaries are a form of self-love that leads to deeper relationships and a more fulfilling experience. As the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup or an empty vessel, depends on how you say it or where you're from. So make sure you set aside 2 hours a week. You might need more, but I'm going to just say 2 hours that is designated just for me time. And I love to quote, so I had to get that quote in. But you do. I need you to set aside at least 2 hours a week for me time. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be honest. I tried to set aside an hour and a half a day for me time. Does it always work? Not really. The majority of the time it does. But I try to set aside that 1.5 hour time frame just for Michelle. That means I'm not editing. I'm not working. I'm not doing anything for my business. It is just my me time. So if I want to spend it wasting my mind on watching TikTok videos one after the other for 1.5 hours, that's my business. If I want to watch a Christmas movie, because I do love Christmas movies and cartoons, I can watch 1.5 hours of that just for me, and it's uninterrupted me time. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you may say, well, shoot, I need more than that, and that's absolutely fine. You have to find what works for you. I'm just using that as a basis to start with. Number 7, use polite deflection to decline invitations. A simple no may do for some, but for others, say in business settings, you will need to use deflection just to keep things professional and to maintain a positive relationship. So in order to do this, you'll want to, I have 3 things, and again, it'll be in the description box. Number 1, acknowledge the offer. Kindly, of course. You know what? Thank you so much for inviting me to lunch with you and your group, or inviting me to dinner, wherever it is. So acknowledge the offer, and then state a non-specific commitment. I have this thing that I need to do around the same time on the same day, so I'm not going to be able to attend your event. That way you didn't tell them what it was. Again, state a non-specific commitment because they don't need to know as the reason why you can't attend. And it's okay. People do it all the time. Number 3, propose a different activity or another meeting time that works for both of you. So if someone says, so they've invited you to this event, you acknowledged it, but then you told them you had something else around the same time. You didn't commit to whatever that thing was. And so lastly, you say, you know what if we, instead of going to eat at place A, what if we go and meet up at place B? Or that date doesn't work, the first doesn't work for me. How about we do it on the 15th? That way you're offering an alternative. If you don't want to be the kind of person that just turns folks down and says, nope, can't do it, and that's that, because I do know people like that, come up with an alternative. Hopefully they'll say, you know what, that will work. Because if they really want to do whatever that thing is with you, they're going to find a way. And if that date doesn't work for them, then they'll say, you know what, the 15th doesn't work, but what about the 20th? If that works for both of you, run with it. So here's some tips. Always make sure you focus on what you have to do rather than what you are turning down. Let me say that again. Always make sure you focus on what you have to do rather than what you're turning down. So in other words, I'm focusing on this other place I need to be and not focusing on turning down your invitation to go and pick raspberries. Okay? Make sure you're doing that. Most people are more likely to respect and accept your reason, even if they don't believe it, because don't always think people believe it, even though it sounds convincing. Sometimes they don't truly believe it, and they kind of feel like they're being brushed off, but they'll respect you more if you focus on what it is you have to do as opposed to the opportunity that you're turning down, because then it makes it seem like you don't want to do that thing, and that very well may be. Just don't focus on it. Number 8, last but not least, set your digital boundaries. Doing this will help you separate your work and life boundaries. You may also want to have a set morning and bedtime routine. This is a perfect one to end with. I remember when I worked for USDA, I loved my job. I worked in HR, and I gave leadership over our travel card program. So what that meant was that every month I got a report for everybody in our agency whose card was delinquent. And I could tell if you were 30 days, 60 days, 90, 120 or more days past due. And so based on your delinquency, I had a letter that I sent out to you. And it was just a standard letter basically saying, hey, your travel card is 30 days past due. Please be sure to get your payment in. Or if it was 60 days past due, get your payment in. Then once we got to 90 days past due, now I've got to take disciplinary action. So I would have to write letters to their supervisor, letting them know that they are 90 days past due. And that carried, I believe it was a mandatory 1-week suspension, if I'm not mistaken, for that. And so, you know, it is what it is, because the reality is that people got reimbursed for their travel, so they should have paid their bill. But I get it. You know, I talked to a couple of people, and they were experiencing some extreme hardships. One lady, I said to her, I said, okay, let me say this. You're 60 days past due. Please don't be on my list next month, and you're now 90 days past due, because I'll have to, it's not me. I'm going to have to do something about it. I said, so at least get one payment in. That way you'll just show up on the 30-day past due list. She said, thank you so much. That list came out the next month, and she was down to 30 days, and eventually she got it taken care of. But I digress. I said all of that to say this. I love that job so much that I took my BlackBerry, which I still actually have 2, because those are my own personal ones. I had 2 BlackBerries, 3. I can't find the first one, but the last 2 I had, I still have. And I took my BlackBerries, I took my work laptop, and I would take it with me on vacation. I didn't have boundaries. I didn't set boundaries for myself, because my supervisor, my director, who I love dearly, he loved my work, and I knew he was counting on me to get the job done. So I took work with me. I took it home. I worked on it on the weekends. I took it on vacation with me. And then over time, I began to feel burnt out. And that's when I realized, Michelle, you've got to set, what did I say, digital boundaries. And I stopped taking my laptop with me and my BlackBerry. Well, no, I took my BlackBerry because I still wanted to keep up on my emails. I know Charge it to the head, not the heart. But because I didn't want my emails to get behind. That was something I never really got past, but that's neither here nor there. The thing I'm sharing all this with you to show you that you've got to set boundaries. Because if you don't, people will expect you to work even when you're supposed to be on vacation, and you shouldn't have to do that. So, like I said, you've got to do this so that you can separate your work life and your personal life. And too often I've met too many people that don't have a clear divide on those two things. One spills over to the other, and usually it's the work into the personal. And I don't want you all to live that way, because life is too short. It is too short. Chances are you're not even getting paid for all that overtime anyway. So learn to have boundaries. Do not even allow your job to just call you whenever they want to. Don't allow them to give you work. Because again, as I was on vacation, I love that job so much. I took case files home. And I'm writing letters. And I'm doing things that I should not have been doing because I was on vacation. Not that it was wrong, it's just that I was on vacation. And you've got to learn to draw the lines. You may have family members, you may have neighbors, co-workers, friends, whoever, it doesn't matter. Draw those boundary lines and then stick with them. Y'all, that's it. That's all I have. I'm getting here, get me some breakfast and get on with my day, because like I said, I have a long list of things I need to do. No, a long list of things that I'm going to do, okay? And so I just wanted to share this topic with you all today, because I just thought it was very relevant, because too often, and even now, I find sometimes I kind of slip back on the boundaries that I set, and I kind of let them down a little bit, and I'm learning that I have to start putting those boundaries back up again, because sometimes people do take a little advantage of those. Having said that, if you're new to watching my videos, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I am your coach. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So make sure you come back on Friday where I have another topic for you. This channel is all about uplifting and motivating you all. It's about speaking life into you. My goal is always to build you up and encourage you, never, ever to tear you down. That is not my goal. Never has been, never will be. Just so you know that. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, tap the bell so you don't miss anything. For those of you that this is not your first rodeo, I want to say welcome back. You know I miss you when I don't get a chance to see you. Listen, y'all, I love you all to the moon and back. You know the drill, you know the spiel. There's nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, that you could ever do about it, not now, not ever. Because I love you. I'm never going to give up on you. I'm going to always be here to encourage you, because I know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. And as I always like to say, if you're going to go out, enjoy this day. Please make sure you have plenty of water to stay hydrated. Like I said, it's going to be hot later on. So I want you to stay hydrated. Wherever you go, whatever you do, have fun, but be safe. And always remember, the best is yet to come. I can't tell you it's going to be here today, tomorrow, next week, or next month. But the best is yet to come for you and for me, because we deserve nothing but the best. Love you all. We'll talk again on Friday.